It has become abundantly clear to me that as a society, America is simply giving up on people. And this is not going to be a video on politics or institutions or special interests. No, this is going to be a video on social media. And it's going to be a video on a particular narrative that I have seen time and time again on my feed. And that narrative has been purported by people in the grind set space, people in the success and wealth building and motivation space. Essentially what they're saying is that if your friends aren't working hard, if they're not eating healthy, if they're not dieting properly, exercising, training like a madman or a madwoman, if they're not reading 20 books a week, if they're not taking cold plunges, if they're not doing keto, if they're not practicing the law of attraction or the law of manifestation, then you just need to get rid of them, man. You just need to cast them to the side. And this seems all well and good on the surface, right? They tell you that if you're around these people, that you need to get away from them because they're going to pull you down. You want to be successful, you need to be around other successful people, right? You need to get around people that are doing as good as you want to be doing or even better than you want to be doing. You want to shoot up. You want to punch above your weight. Fair enough. It's good advice. But on the other hand, their rhetoric and their style of speech is eerily reminiscent of particular public figures in the past who have made bold claims that certain groups of people are subhuman, that certain groups of people are simply not worth looking at or treating like human beings, individuals with rights. That is what it sounds like to me. Perhaps I am extrapolating this out too far, but I don't think I'm alone in this. You let me know in the comments below, but I feel that's where we're going as a society. We're simply giving up on people. We're giving up on the people around us because they don't check every single last box. We're giving up on people because they're not working exactly as hard as we're working, or they're not following the exact lifestyle that we're following, or they don't believe in all the same things we believe in. I feel like that narrative is being purported. And perhaps this isn't the exact reality on the ground, but I see it on the ground a lot. I'm seeing it on the ground a lot more. People gossiping so much about their friends behind their back, being vicious, being cruel, so much malice, so much hate in their hearts and their words. We're giving up on people, and we're giving up on them so quickly because there's this other idea that says, well, instead of believing in the blank slate, tabula rasa, the idea that humans are infinitely perfectible, that we can create them to be whatever we want them to be, an idea purported about 100 years ago, an idea that one of my favorite creators, What If Alt Hist, has debunked many times in his videos. Instead of that, we're going to take the opposite approach, where people are totally fixed, as in it is 100% nature, 100% biology, 100% DNA. They are who they are. They're going to be who they are. We can't make any change here. Can't make any alterations. Can't make any progress. No room for growth. No room for improvement. What they are today is what they're going to be tomorrow. And by and large, that is true, right? By and large, that is true. People don't change much. People say they change, but they don't change that much, at least not in my perspective, at least not through my eyes. I haven't seen it. Most people say they change, but then you look at their lives fundamentally, and they're not really making changes. They're repeating the same patterns, but they're just different enough so that they can't tell. But as an outside observer, it's pretty obvious. However, that doesn't mean that change isn't possible. But there's this idea online that, well, if one of your friends is known to be a slacker, if one of your friends can't pick the right partner, or if one of your friends keeps making the same mistake, that you just got to give up on them. You just got to cast them to the side. Who cares? Let them wallow in their self-pity. Let them wallow in their despair. Let them roll around in the mud with the other brokies. Just let them do that. Who cares, right? You have your life to live. Your self-interest above everyone else, right? It's a compelling idea. It's an idea that's gripped a lot of people. And if that's an idea that you want to live through, by all means, right? That's your life. You can live through it. And I'm sure you'll be incredibly successful if you take it to its logical conclusion. You've seen that in many public figures. If you take it to its logical conclusion, you'll probably be massively successful. But I want to urge you to consider another way. And that way is that you don't allow yourself to be dragged into the negativity of others. You don't allow yourself to be dragged into the bad behaviors of others. You don't allow yourself to adopt behaviors that you don't particularly agree with, like if you're a workaholic or if you want to work a little bit harder to provide for your family to build a better future, well, then maybe you shouldn't slack off because your friends are. If you don't want to drink, well, then maybe you shouldn't order that beer at the bar when you're with them or at the restaurant when you're with them. If you don't want to spend money at the mall, well, then don't go to the mall with them or just don't spend the money at the mall. Right? Like you can still be friends with people and not completely agree with what they're saying. This is what we used to do in the 1960s, 1970s. We used to have debates with each other. We used to talk with each other, right and left, Democrat, Republican. We used to commingle. We used to have discussions. But that's not the case anymore. And more we're giving up on each other because, well, it's the idea that it's either my way or it's the highway. And if you're not going to be in my lane, then you might as well pound sand. That's the idea. But I want to urge you to consider to do exactly the opposite because, like I've said before and I'll say again, I don't believe the problems you see on TV and the problems you see in everyday life are going to be fixed by politicians. I don't believe they're going to be fixed by institutions. I don't believe they're going to be fixed by legislation or a revolution. I don't believe any of that's going to happen. I believe the only way they can be fixed is by individuals making changes in their day-to-day lives. I believe it's the only way that it's going to be fixed. And unless you're willing to extend the life raft to somebody else, to throw out the buoy, to pull them in from the water, unless you're willing to dive in and potentially risk drowning yourself because they might drag you under in order to help them, then you're just giving up on people. And if we give up on everyone, who are we going to have left? You tell me. It's not easy to do. It's not even in your self-interest materially. But I believe that it's right. And this is strange that I'm making this video because 5 years ago, I wouldn't have made this video. 5 years ago, I would have bought into the narrative I previously laid out with all of the credit I could possibly max. But today, I feel exactly the opposite. And I don't think I'm going to change my mind on this one because I keep getting more confirmation every single day that there's really not a better way to look at this. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm crazy. I mean, what do I know? But you tell me. If we give up on everyone just because they're not exactly like us or because they don't exactly meet our criteria, even though they probably have other characteristics that we don't possess, things that we may even envy, who are we going to have left? And what society are we going to be living in? That's for you to decide. With that, I say thank you for watching. If you gained value out of this, subscribe to the page, and I'll see you in the next video. This is the New Da Vinci. Have a great day.